when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Ashabababa. Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the sporting segment of this Friday Sports Show. Yes, I'm so excited to be here this morning and always a really exciting time to join after the entertainment segment with Lavian. I learned a new word this morning, Ashabababa. Not sure the meaning of it, but of course we're getting up for Carnival. Yes, well, this morning on set, of course, talking about football. We're talking Paralympic, and of course, we're celebrating a silver medalist in terms of Akeem Stewart. He's going to be on set with his coach. But first up, we're going to talk to Mr. Kenny Alfred. I'm seeing some things happening there where football is concerned on the island. F.A. Cup being postponed, and he'll join us online. And I'm hoping that he's already there. Mr. Alfred, are you with us?
Good morning, Marcus. Yes, I'm up and going.
Yes, man. You're looking like you're in Hyatt Day way.
No comments.
Good morning, Mr. Alfred. Of course, before we get into the discussion with FA Cup and the T.F.A season, I want to get your thoughts on what Tobago witnessed. Was when? That's last Wednesday or Tuesday, one of those days there. Trinidad and Tobago versus French Guyana in the Nations League. Just your thoughts as the president of the Tobago Football Association.
Well, first of all, let me say good morning to your viewers, your listeners around the world. Let me also say congratulations to Mr. Stewart on his recent success at the Olympics. We must, of course, highlight our outstanding Tobagonian brothers and sisters for their achievements. In terms of the game, Marcus, of course, it wasn't the result that anybody wanted. Any Trinidad and Tobago football supporter, any Trinbagonian on the whole would have liked us to win. So I'm hoping that we could continue the turnaround process. Football has been going through some difficult times within the recent years. The process is still ongoing. We now have a new executive. There have been some changes in the coaching staff of the teams. I'm not going to voice my comments for or against. It is what it is, and the people in charge now are making the decisions. But the game to me was really a little too lackluster. We never seemed able to change pace, to change the pace in which we were playing to try to get that goal. We had opportunities, of course, which we did not take. And if you don't take your opportunities, you can't win a game.
Indeed.
What it is, we now have some other games coming up. We may have another game in Tobago coming shortly again. For me, it's good that we're having these games in Tobago because it allows the Tobago footballer, the young kids in Tobago, to see and maybe even dream more about being part of our national setup at whatever age group or even at senior level.
Yeah,
and that more Tobagonians can get involved in this national setup as well.
Fantastic. And I saw also on Tuesday a number of what I want to call icons here in Tobago where football is concerned. Mr. Granville, Mr. Williams, that's Terry Williams. I also saw, I think it was Terry Williams as well. Not Terry Williams, Terry Joseph, sorry. They received awards from the Trinidad Tobago Football Association. Let's share your thoughts on that as well.
It's something long overdue. We must, of course, salute and recognize, just as I said with Akeem, recognize those individuals who serve football and would have achieved some level of success. Miss Mina Dickinson has been a long-standing administrator, a woman in what is still predominantly a man's sport. She would have served for a number of years, both at club and at Tobago level. You recognize that Peter Granville has been a national coach, national under 17. He, of course, had a team in the Pro League for some years coming out of Tobago. And now, of course, we have Bethel United and, of course, 1976 FC Phoenix competing, and they have been competing at the national level for some years. And the gentlemen behind the scenes have been George Toffee Joseph and Terry Williams. So you must recognize these individuals. And of course, I've saved the best for last, Bertil Sinclair, who has coached every national team. And in my view, still the most successful national coach ever. He, of course, was given the loudest round of applause. Achievements. So it's really good to recognize people when they're alive. And make them feel satisfied and that they would know that the efforts were not in vain. So
Fantastic. Fantastic. And now let's get to the matter at hand here this morning in terms of the FA Cup. I saw a release from the Tobago Football Association on social media that the FA Cup that should have been starting this weekend has been postponed due to circumstances beyond your control. What are the circumstances beyond your control that have forced the postponement of the T.F.A
All right. Well, of
FA Cup?
course, there are a number of little factors, but I think the main one, of course, has to do with availability of our prime venue in Tobago. As I mentioned earlier, we may be having our next game in Tobago, and because of that, and because of the report that came out of the last game that we had just on Tuesday, the stadium now has to be closed and will be taken away from us. Not with any malicious thought. Let me make that very clear. The ground has to be made. They have to do some restoration work on the field to get it ready. We were informed only yesterday around midday that an application was made to have the game against Cuba, T.F.A versus Cuba on October 14th,
Right.
played in Tobago at the Right Stadium again. And because of the report coming out of the game on Tuesday, in terms of the state of the field, the management were left with no option but to have to shut it down to do some work on the field. Now, our FA Cup, of course, is our premier competition. It's our knockout competition, the one that generates the most interest. Not to say that our league that has not generated interest, but knockout is knockout, is win or go home. And we felt that this competition requires to be played on our best surface,
Right.
most of the games, because we do take some of the games into the communities, and we did not want to have a situation where we're going to start and stop the competition.
Right.
That would kill the momentum. So we felt, given the nature of the event and given the circumstances, it would be best to push it back. Of course, we would have had some postponed games that weren't played again for different reasons thus far. So we can use the period now to play the postponed games and then coming right after our carnival, because we didn't want to start after the 14th
Right.
and then stop carnival.
Yes.
That would kill the momentum and the energy of the players. So we felt that we should leave it and start after carnival, after the end of October, where we can flow straight in, because it's going to take just over a month, 5 weeks to be the FA competition. So that predominantly is the main reason.
Yes.
We still are struggling with some lights. For example, the lights at Roxborough, we have one tower down right now. So that would have also put us in a bind. But of course, we have communicated this already. And let me say now that we have been we have gotten a lot of support from the Division of Sports. It's not that I'm knocking them in any way, because they have been responding very, very timely in terms of when we have little challenges and getting the grounds ready for our games. So let me also say thanks to the Division of Sports for their support thus far. And I know that they're going to attend to the light situation in Roxbury, because that local team now is affected in terms of their preparation. And I know there are other users for that venue as well coming up.
Yeah. So will this change now affect the completion date of the league?
Not necessarily, because we still had those makeup games to complete, and you would have recognized some since last year. We would have changed the cycle. We're no longer finishing in December, but we're going into January, February, depending on when the National Carnival celebrations fall.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily going to change. We're going to make use of the time, as I said, and put back into some makeup games.
Okay. And in terms of the league itself, as we look to wrap, how has the league been going? I've been seeing a lot of goals. Some teams scoring a lot of goals, and in one particular team, a team that used to be like a household name in Tobago when it comes to winning trophies, Sinclair's Coaching School. What's happening with Sinclair's Coaching School and all the goals that they have been conceding, though?
Well, Marcus, life goes in cycles. You won't remain at the top forever. Unfortunately, they're going through that period of change. The top players are now, most of them would have stopped playing, and they're now restarting, so to speak, with some younger guys. So that time you could say time has caught up with Sinclair's Coaching School. It's not nice to see. And it's one of the things that we looked at last year. We recognize that within the clubs that we have, you can easily see that they're falling in different levels.
Yes, yes,
Part of
yes.
the process is, and I think you should remember, we decided that coming out of this year's competition, we are going to be returning to the first division and second division
Yes.
system where you have your top clubs playing against your top clubs regularly, and the other clubs play at a lower division and earn the right to move up. So it brings back the promotion relegation system into play from 2025. So coaching school is really going through that period of change. One would hope for their sake and for the football sake, it doesn't take them too long,
Yeah.
that they can settle down and get back into the mix of things. But outside of that, I could tell you that there's lots of excitement. Charleville Unite Police Youth Club, of course, would have upsetted Eagles. They were unbeaten in the league thus far. We saw a good doubleheader in Roxborough. I think it was last Friday, where Georgia and Castara,
Yeah.
they were victorious on the night, defeating Speyside and Roxborough. Um, the turnout was huge at Roxborough at the Segway Complex. So we're seeing some upsets in the football. Teams are
Yeah.
catching up with other teams. When you look at the standings, you're seeing the games are not only going fast, but the points shows that we have at least 5 teams in each division that are vying
Yeah.
and would be competing for that qualification, which means the interest is really high.
Yeah,
And
fantastic. Yeah, I've been following it closely, and of course, big up to my home team there, Castara and Phoenix as well. It's always good when they can beat the top teams. It says that the competition level is very competitive. Outside
Yes.
of that Sinclair's coaching school situation, I'm hoping that, as you mentioned, they get the house in order and come back roaring in 2025. Mr. Alfred, short on time this morning, but I like the fact that you cleared up the situation with the FA Cup, and I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to have you back again to talk about the matchups in that sense. But I want you to enjoy your time at the Hyatt there. It's now what, 7:53. You get a good breakfast. They have nice breakfast there, nice outdoor setting as well too. Now enjoy yourself there, and I'll see you again to talk more about the FA Cup, Mr. Alfred.
Thank you very much for having me, and blessings to all of Tobago.
Fantastic. Mr. Kenny Alfred, President of the Tobago Football Association, talking about Tobago's football and FA Cup postponement. Unfortunate, but I understand the reason behind it as well. Guys, we're going to take a short break. Short break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Akeem Stewart and Coach Mr. Wade Franklin. Don't forget, share the live, share the live, share the live.